John Roberts, known as the Badge, 32, was found dead in his home in Winglington, Gateshead, on the 16th of December 2012. John was well known around his local area, being described as a lovely, polite gentleman by people who knew him. He had been an avid Newcastle United fan since he was a child. He often organised trips to away matches for travelling fans, sold Newcastle pins outside Tyneside Irish Centre in Newcastle, which is where he got the nickname The Badge. It seemed something had happened in a year or so before his death. John was usually well dressed with designer clothes, clean shaven with clean cut hair, but recently had a bushy beard, with long tied up hair and dishevelled clothes, making him look older than he was. Police were driving around the area on their rounds and noticed John's front door was open. They investigated, where they then found his beaten body. It seemed like he had extensive head injuries. John was last seen alive on December the 15th, 2012 at 6:30 p.m. at the Cadola Brothers store in Winglington, where he had habitually shopped every day for 15 years. Every day at around the same time, he would read the football pages, buy cigarette papers and have a chat with the brothers. John was known to police as he had been arrested in September 2012 for abduction. A 14-year-old girl ran away from home and was found with John, where it said, and I quote now, he said, showing her what it would be like to be homeless. Police attended Newcastle United's home game against Reading on January the 18th, 2013 and handed out posters and leaflets to supporters appealing for information. Police arrested a 27-year-old man in Gateshead on January the 23rd, 2013 in connection with the murder probe. He is questioned, then released on bail. On February the 28th, 2013, police arrested two men, aged 27 and 21, a 17-year-old boy and a 16-year-old girl on suspicion of murder. A 15-year-old girl was also held for perverting the course of justice. All five were released on police bail after questioning. Detectives in March 2013 released that they had found both male and female DNA at John's home, and police urge anyone who has been in the house to come forward and give a sample. In April 2013, police arrested three men, two aged 40 and from Gateshead and one 43-year-old from Newcastle, on suspicion of murder. All recently have been bailed. In September 2013, the Chronicle revealed that all suspects arrested over the murder have been told they will face no further police action. In January 2014, police arrested a 43-year-old man from Newcastle in a 7 a.m. swoop. He is taken into custody to be questioned before being released, then in March being told he faced no further action. Two men aged 42 and 45 are arrested on suspicion of murder, questioned and released on bail in May 2014. In August 2015, the two suspects were told they will also face no further police action when they answered bail. In 2018, 6 years after John's murder, police released an appeal to the murderer asking them to hand themselves in, stating the case will still be open and they haven't given up looking. For the person responsible, living with a murder on your shoulders can be terrifying. Stop looking over your shoulder and hand yourself in to police. John's family have already suffered, without him and without knowing who did this to him. They deserve to see the person responsible held to account and brought to justice, said the Detective Superintendent Lisa Thika, lead detective on the case.
John Roberts lived at 11 Park Terrace, Winlayton. Around 5:30 p.m. on Saturday, December the 15th, the day before he was murdered, John was seen by a witness down an alley not far from his home. This reconstruction was filmed on a summer's day, but that evening was a typical dark, cold and wet December night with snow on the ground. The witness saw John down the alley near the junction of Whitewell Road. The alley is just yards away from his home. We believe that on the Saturday, John was wearing the same clothes that he was found dead in. These were dark blue jeans, a blue zipped fleece and a grey-green coloured coat. A witness saw John walking down the alley speaking with a man. The man is described as being white, 19 to 20 years old and around 5'10" tall. He had short fair hair and was clean shaven. He was wearing a waist-length dark brown or green bomber-style jacket and blue jeans. The witness told us the man looked as if he was getting agitated while speaking with John and that he may have been arguing with him. Do you know who this man is? We really need to identify this man and speak to him, as he may have been one of the last people to speak to John before his death. After seeing John walking down the alley, we think the two men continued down the hill to John's house. They might have gone into John's house, we don't know for sure. What we do know is that around 6:30 p.m, John visited the Candola Brothers shop in Hazel Road. The shop is a 5-minute walk down the Shibden Bank from John's house, and there are a number of routes he could have taken. Did you see John that Saturday evening making his way from his home to the Candola store? Did you see where the man he was speaking to went? Earlier that day, Newcastle had played Manchester City at St James's Park. Perhaps you were coming back from the game and you saw John or spoke to him that evening. If so, we want to hear from you. John left the Candola store around 6:35 p.m, and this is the last confirmed sighting that we have of him before his death. We know that he went back to his house in Park Terrace sometime between then and when he was found dead on Sunday. We don't know if he left the store and went straight home or if he went somewhere else. We need to trace his movements after he left the shop at 6:35 p.m. that evening. It's been 6 months since John Roberts was murdered, and we are continuing to do all we can to catch those responsible. Teams of detectives have carried out more than 1,200 house-to-house inquiries and spoke to thousands of people in connection with the investigation. John was a father, a brother, and a much-loved and missed son. His family have been left devastated by what happened, and they need closure to help move on with their lives. John's father, David Roberts, speaks on behalf of the family.
In December 2012, our son was killed inside his home, and those who did it need to be caught. It's been months of waiting, uncertainty, and heartache for us. People need to think back to last December to see if they remember anything, any little thing, that might help the police catch his murderers. John was a father, son, brother, and friend. He touched many lives. Although latterly he had retreated into himself and changed his appearance, he was still young and had so much life left to live. He'll never be able to fulfill his potential. His murderers took that from him. The people who did this are still out there. All we ask now is that the killers are brought to justice. Someone, somewhere, has an idea at the back of their mind that a friend or relative began behaving differently just before Christmas. Maybe they went quiet, or too loud, or began drinking more. Maybe they know someone who suddenly moved away from the area at that time, without explanation. We'd ask anyone who can help share information with the police to help solve this case. It'll also help us as a family to move on and lay John's memory to rest.
If anyone has any information towards this crime, please contact the numbers on screen now. Once again, if you enjoyed this video, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe if you feel the channel is interesting to you. Much love everyone, and keep safe out there. The world is a beautiful place, but also a dangerous place. Stay safe.